On my birthday, my family took my brother to an expensive restaurant, while I was forced to sit quietly at the corner of a cheap buffet table. They laughed when I thanked them politely. Until I revealed the shocking gift I had been hiding all along. I'm rating this because I can't sleep, can't eat, can't look it in the mirror without wanting to punch through the glass. My name is Mark, and I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me. Not with something so much worse. With betrayal so deep it poisoned everything I touched. It started on my 28th birthday. Sarah, my fiancée of 2 years, had planned this whole surprise dinner. She'd been saving for months, working double shifts at the clinic just to afford reservations at Romano's, the fancy Italian place downtown where they don't even put prices on the menu. But my family had other plans. We're taking Jake to Michelin's Steakhouse, my mom announced that morning, talking about my younger brother like he was the second coming. His promotion deserves celebrating. Jake got promoted to assistant manager at Best Buy. I just finished my master's degree and landed a job at an engineering firm. Guess which one mattered to them? What about Mark's birthday dinner? Sarah asked, her voice tight. Oh, he can come along, Dad said, not looking from his phone. We'll grab him something from the kids menu. The kids menu. At 28. Sarah's face went white. She'd already put the deposit down, already bought me a new suit, already told everyone at work about our special night. Actually, we have other plans, I said. Mom laughed. Actually laughed. What plans could be more important than family? That's when it hit me. I wasn't family. I was the spare, the afterthought, the one who got table scraps while Jake got the feast. Sarah squeezed my hand. It's okay, baby. Our night will be perfect. But it wasn't okay. Nothing was okay. At Romano's, Sarah glowed. She wore this blue dress that made her eyes look like sapphires. She ordered she couldn't afford and kept taking pictures of us with her phone. I'm so proud of, she kept saying. My brilliant engineer. Well, across town, my family was probably into $100 steaks and toasting Jake's mediocrity. I should have been grateful, should have seen Sarah's love for what it was. Pure unconditional, everything my family's wasn't. Instead I felt like I was playing dress in a restaurant I didn't deserve. Like Sarah was wasting her time on damaged goods. That's when I saw Emma. Emma from college. Emma who'd dated the quarterback. Emma who'd never looked twice at guys like me. She was at the bar with friends laughing at something on her phone. I'll be right back, I told Sarah. Just saying hi to someone. Sarah smiled and nodded, trusting me completely. God, she trusted me. Mark, my gosh. Emma practically squealed when she saw me. Look incredible. Is that Armani? It was in Men's Warehouse. But I didn't correct her. Just grabbing dinner for my birthday, I said, trying to sound casual. Birthday and here alone. No, I paused. Look back at Sarah, who was studying the dessert menu with this adorable concentration face she made. Yeah, kind of. Emma's friends were gorgeous. Model type gorgeous. They kept looking over and whispering. One of them, a blonde named Tiffany, came over. Emma says it's birthday. That's terrible, spending it alone. We're gonna Skybar after this, Emma added. Should come. Lev a little. I should have said no. Should have walked back to Sarah and told her about the invitation so we could laugh about it together. Instead I felt this surge of possibility. These women wanted me around. Me, the family disappointment, the spare brother. Let me think about it, I heard saying. When I got back to the table, Sarah had ordered tiramisu with a candle in it. Meka, she said, eyes sparkling. I wished I was someone else. Someone who deserved better than the woman sitting across from me. The candle flickered. Sarah reached across the table and took my hand. I have something for, she said, pulling out a small wrap box. Inside was a watch, not expensive but engraved on the back, to my future husband. Time stands still when I'm with us. She'd used her tip money for this. Money she needed for groceries. Sarah, to like it. I looked at her hopeful face, at the woman who'd chosen me over everything else. Who'd fought for me when my own family wouldn't. It's perfect, I lied, because it was perfect. She was perfect. And I was about to throw it all away for a few hours of feeling important. After dinner, I told Sarah I was tired, that I wanted to go home and rest. Course, baby, it's been a long day. She my forehead and called an Uber. Told me she loved me 3 times before the car even pulled away. I waited until she was gone. Then I walked 6 blocks to Skybar. Emma and her friends were already when I got there. They bought me shots. Made me feel like the most interesting man in the room. Girlfriend won't mind being out? Tiffany asked, sliding closer on the velvet couch. What girlfriend? I heard saying. The words hung in the air like gas. Emma raised an eyebrow. I thought I saw with someone earlier. Just a friend. Nothing serious. Another lie. Each one easier than the last. The night blurred after that. More drinks, dancing. Tiffany's hand on my chest. Emma whispering in my ear about how much I'd changed since college. We ended in Emma's apartment. Nothing happened that first night, but something shifted. Some line got crossed that I couldn't uncross. I stumbled home at 3 a.m. to find Sarah asleep on the stretch, still in her blue dress. She'd waited. There was a note on the coffee table. Happy birthday, my love. Thank for the most perfect evening. I can't wait to be wife. I crumpled it away. That was the beginning of the end. The first and the foundation of everything good in my. Because once convinced deserve better than unconditional love, I'll destroy it to prove right. 3 weeks. That's how long it took me to completely destroy 6 years with Sarah. After that night at Skybar, Emma started texting. Innocent stuff at first. Had so much fun catching. Then photos from her yoga class. Then late night messages about how she couldn't sleep. I should have blocked her number. Should have told Sarah everything and begged forgiveness. Instead I kept responding. Sarah noticed me on my phone more. Of course she did, we'd been together since college. She knew my patterns better than I knew them. Work keeping busy, she asked one morning watching me type. Yeah, new project. I lied, deleting Emma's message about meeting for coffee. Sarah made me scrambled eggs the way I liked them. Extra cheese, no salt. She'd been perfecting that recipe for 4 years. I was thinking we could look at venues this weekend, she said, sitting across from me with her own plate. My mom found this place in the mountains. It's beautiful, wedding venues. Right, we're supposed to be planning our future. My phone buzzed. Em again. Sure, whatever, want, I said, not looking. Sarah's fork clinked against her plate. When I finally glanced, her eyes were. Mark, are we okay? We're fine, just stressed about work. Another lie, they were getting easier. That afternoon I met Emma at a coffee shop downtown. She wore this tight sweater that showed off everything, made heads turn when she walked in. "I've been thinking about," she said, sliding into the booth across from me. "We met, remember senior year, that party at Sigma Chi? I remembered. Sarah had been sick with the flu. I'd gone alone and spent the whole night missing her. That was a long time ago, not that long." Emma reached across the table and touched my hand. "I was back then, chasing the wrong guys. If I'd been smarter." "I'm engaged, Emma." "Hair happy?" Such a simple question, such a loaded answer. Because the truth was I had been happy, completely, stupidly happy with Sarah. Until my family reminded me that I wasn't worth celebrating. Until Emma made me remember what it felt like to be wanted by someone who had choices. "It's complicated," I said. Emma smiled like she'd won something. We started meeting regularly. Coffee became lunch. Lunch became drinks. Drinks became Emma's apartment again. I told nothing was happening, we were just friends. Just talking, but I was lying to everyone, including Sarah. Knew something was wrong. She'd catch me staring off into space, find me deleting text messages, watch me shower longer than usual, like I was trying to wash something off. "Who's Emma?" she asked one night, holding my phone. My turn to ice. "What?" Phone buzzed. Someone named Emma sent a heart emoji. "Think fast, leave faster." "Emma from accounting, she's just friendly." Sarah looked at me for a long moment. I could see her deciding whether to trust me, choosing to trust me. "Okay," she said, handing back the phone. "I love Paul. Love too." The words felt like glass in my throat. A month in, Emma me. Right there in her living room, while some romantic movie played in the background. I should have stopped it. Should have left. Should have run home to Sarah and confessed everything. Instead I her back. "I've wanted this for so long," Emma whispered. And for a moment in her arms, I felt like the man I thought I deserved to be. Important, chosen. Worth fighting for. The guilt it later, always later. When I was lying next to Sarah listening to her breathe. When she'd make me coffee in the morning and my cheek goodbye. When she'd text me during the day just to say she was thinking about me. I started picking fights. Fights about nothing. Never want to go out anymore. I'd complain. "We went out last weekend. To cousin's birthday, remember? That doesn't count. That was family stuff." I thought liked family stuff. "Not everything is about family, Sarah." She'd look confused. Like she was trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. Because I was the missing piece. I was already half gone. Wanted me to stay overnight. Wanted to meet in public, wanted to be seen together. "When are gonna tell her?" she asked one evening, tracing patterns on my chest. "Tell her what?" "That are leaving her." For me, the words hit like cold water. Firma, I never said, "Don't have to say it, I can feel it." The way look at me, the way touch me. This isn't just physical, Mark. We have something. Did we? Or was I just so desperate for validation that I'd convinced Emma's attention meant more than Sarah's devotion? I started working late, real late this time, not work anything, to avoid going home, to avoid seeing Sarah's face when she asked how my day was, to avoid the trust in her eyes that I didn't deserve. She tried everything to reconnect. Cooked my favorite meals. Planned surprise date nights. Left little notes in my lunch bag. "I miss," she said one night, curled against me in bed. "I'm right here." No, or not. So, somewhere I can't reach. I wanted to tell her everything. Wanted to break down and beg her to save me from. Instead I pulled away. Her being dramatic. "Mark, please. Just talk to me, whatever's wrong we can fix it." We, even when I was destroying us, she still said we. "There's nothing to fix, Ed." Or imagining things. She started crying. Quiet tears that she tried to hide. I pretended to sleep and had it until morning. The end came suddenly. Sarah's friend Jessica saw me with Emma at a restaurant across town. Took a photo. Sent it to Sarah with a question mark. When I got home, Sarah was sitting at the kitchen table. The photo was face on the wood surface. "Is there something want to tell me?" she asked. Her voice was eerily calm. The kind of calm that comes before storms. I could have explained, could have said it was business. Could have lied my way out of it like I'd been doing for months. But I was tired. Tired of lying. Tired of pretending. Tired of being someone I wasn't. "It's not what it looks like," I said. "What does it look like, Mark?" I stared at the photo. Me and Emma, leaning across a table toward each other. Her hand on mine. Both of us laughing. It looked like exactly what it was. "Sarah, I can explain. How long have been cheating on me?" The word hung between us. Cheating. Such an word for what I'd convinced was just confusion. Just figuring things out. "I'm not, we haven't. Don't lie to me anymore. Please. Just don't lie." So I told her. Everything. The birthday dinner. The kisses. All of it. Sarah listened without interrupting. Didn't cry, didn't scream. Just sat there absorbing each word like physical blows. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. Then she took off her engagement ring and placed it on the table next to the photo. "Get out," she whispered. "Sarah, wait. We can work through this. We can go to counseling. I'll contact with Emma. I'll do whatever it takes." She looked at me then, and I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Emptiness, like I'd killed something essential inside her. "Don't get to fix this, Mark. Don't get to break me and then demand the right to put me back together." "But I love," she laughed. A broken hollow sound. "No, don't. If love me, wouldn't have spent months choosing someone else. If love me, would have talked to me instead of running to her. If love me, never would have made me feel crazy for trusting my instincts." Each word was each sentence was truth I could argue with. Made 1,000 mistakes. Every text, every lie, every time came home and me with her taste still on lips. The image hit me like a physical. What I'd done to her, what I'd made her laugh with. "Sarah, get out. Now, before I say something we'll both regret." I packed a bag, grabbed my toothbrush, my work clothes, the watch she'd given me for my birthday. At the door I turned back. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry." Sarah was still sitting at the table staring at the ring. "Sorry doesn't give me back the year I planning our wedding. Sorry doesn't give me back the nights I stayed awake wondering why I didn't want me anymore. Sorry doesn't erase the fact that away 6 years for someone barely know." The door closed behind me with a soft click. I stood on the porch of the house we'd picked out together. The house where we'd planned to raise kids. Where we'd planned to grow old. My phone buzzed. Emma asking if I wanted to come over. For the first time in months, the thought made me sick. Because I was finally starting to understand what I'd lost. And what I'd lost it for wasn't worth the paper my lies were written on. I'm writing this from a studio apartment that smells like other people's mistakes. The walls are thin enough to hear my neighbor's TV, and there's a water stain on the ceiling that looks like a screaming face. It's been 8 months since Sarah kicked me out. 8 months of consequences I never saw coming. The first week, I stayed with Emma. Thought maybe we could build something real from the wreckage of my engagement. I was wrong about everything. This is so exciting, Emma said, making space in her closet for my clothes. We can finally be together properly. But without the thrill of secrecy, without the forbidden nature of it all, Emma and I had nothing. We were strangers who'd shared some stolen moments and mistaken for connection. Within days we were fighting. She criticized how I made coffee. I hated her taste in movies. She thought my engineering job was boring. I found her friends shallow and vapid. Or not the same person were when we were sneaking around, she complained. Neither was she. Without the mystery, without the chase, Emma was just another person I had nothing in common with. 2 weeks in she kicked me out too. This isn't working, she said, not even looking from her phone. I think we both know it. Standing on another doorstep with my suitcase, I finally understood what Sarah meant about consequences. I traded 6 years of genuine love for 2 weeks of uncomfortable small talk. The worst part wasn't losing Emma. The worst part was realizing I'd never wanted her in the first place. I'd wanted what she represented. Validation, choice. The feeling that I was good enough for someone who had options. But Sarah had chosen me every single day for 6 years. Had picked me over every other man she'd ever met. Had looked at my family treating me like garbage and decided I was worth fighting for anyway. And I'd thrown that away for the ego boost of being wanted by someone new. My family, predictably, blamed Sarah. Or better off without her. Mom said over dinner at their house. She was always too controlling. Sarah, who'd supported every dream I'd ever had. Who'd worked extra shifts to help pay for my master's degree. Who'd never once tried to change me. She wasn't controlling. Mom, well, something was wrong. I felt the need to look elsewhere. Even now, even after I'd confessed everything, they couldn't admit that maybe I was the problem. Maybe their golden child had made a mistake. Jake, fresh off his Best Buy promotion, offered his wisdom. Dude, dodged a bullet. Marriage is a trap anyway. Now can play the field. Play the field. Like Sarah was some opponent I'd defeated instead of the woman who'd loved me unconditionally. I stopped going to family dinners after that. Work became a nightmare. Word travels fast in engineering firms, especially when ex-fiancé works at the clinic next door. Everyone in the pitting looks. The whispered conversations that stopped when I walked by. Heard about Sarah. My colleague Mike said one day. That's rough, man. Yeah, things happen. She seemed really nice. Met her at the Christmas party last year. Two looked happy. We had been happy. Disgustingly, perfectly happy. Until I decided that wasn't enough. The social fallout was brutal. Sarah and I had shared friends, and most of them chose sides. Her side. Because cheaters don't get custody of mutual friends. My phone went quiet. Weekend plans disappeared. Invitations stopped coming. Sarah, meanwhile, seemed to be thriving. I heard through the grapevine that she'd gotten a promotion at the clinic. That she'd taken hiking. That she was seeing someone new. A doctor. Someone who probably never made her feel like she wasn't worth celebrating. The thought of her with someone else made me physically sick. Not because I wanted her back exactly. But because I couldn't stand that she was moving on. That she was proving she didn't need me. That maybe she never had. I started drinking too much at drinking, just more than before. Enough to dull the edges of regret that deeper every day. One night, and I texted her. I miss. She responded an hour later. Don't contact me again. Short, final. Like closing a book she'd already finished reading. I tried dating. Downloaded apps, went on coffee dates with women who seemed nice enough. But every conversation felt hollow. Every laugh felt forced. Because I kept comparing them to Sarah. To her genuine interest in my work. Her terrible jokes that made me groan and smile simultaneously. The way she'd curl next to me during movies and fall asleep on my shoulder. None of these new women were Sarah. And Sarah was gone forever because of choices I'd made. The depression hit around month 6. Real depression, not just sadness. The kind where getting out of bed felt like climbing mountains. Where showering tasted like cardboard. I stopped shaving regularly. Stopped caring about my appearance. My apartment became a disaster zone of takeout containers and unwashed clothes. My boss called me into his office. Mark, performance has been slipping. The Henderson project was 3 weeks late. The Morrison calculations had errors we caught at the last minute. What's going on? What was going on? I destroyed the only good thing in my for a fantasy that lasted 2 weeks, and now I was learning that actions have consequences that stretch far beyond the moment make them. Just going through some personal stuff. Well, figure it out. Or we'll have to discuss future here. Even my job was in jeopardy now. Everything I'd built, everything I'd worked for, crumbling because I couldn't appreciate what I had when I had it. The final came at month 8. I ran into Sarah at a coffee shop downtown. Our coffee shop where we used to meet between her shifts. She looked incredible, healthy, happy, glowing a way I'd never seen before. She was with him, the doctor. Tall, confident, the kind of man who probably never doubted his worth enough to sabotage his own happiness. They were laughing about something. Really laughing, the way Sarah used to laugh with me before I made her question everything about our relationship. She saw me watching and her face went carefully neutral. Hello, Mark. Sarah. The doctor looked between us, clearly recognizing the tension. This is David, Sarah said. David, this is Mark, my ex-fiancé. Past tense, history. David shook my hand politely. Didn't try to assert dominance or mark territory. Didn't need to. His confidence was quiet, secure. Everything mine had pretended to be with Emma. Well, we should go, Sarah said after an awkward moment. We have dinner reservations. As they walked away I heard David ask, okay? And Sarah's response, yeah, I'm great. She was great. Without me she was great. I sat in that coffee shop for 2 hours, staring at the table where Sarah and I used to plan our future. Where she'd shown me pictures of wedding dresses on her phone. Where she talked about the kids we'd have someday and the trips we'd take. All of it gone. All of it thrown away so I could feel important for a few weeks. That night I tried to figure out what I'd gained from destroying what had been worth 6 years of love, 2 years of engagement planning, and a future I'd actually wanted. The answer was nothing. Literally nothing. Emma was long gone, already dating someone else. My family still treated me like an afterthought. My friends were gone. My work was suffering. My mental health was, I'd traded everything for Nevin, somehow convinced it was a fair deal. The worst part isn't the loneliness, though the loneliness is crushing. It's not the regret, though the regret follows me everywhere. The worst part is knowing that Sarah's better off without me. That she's happier, healthier, more herself with David than she ever was in those final months with me. The worst part is understanding that I didn't just cheat on Sarah. I cheated her out of the partner she deserved. I cheated her out of feeling secure in love. I cheated her out of trust that took years to build. And for what? For a few months of feeling chosen by someone who didn't even know me. I look at that water stain on my ceiling every night before I fall asleep. The one that looks like a screaming face. Sometimes I think it's Sarah screaming at me for what I took from her. Sometimes I think it's me, screaming at for being too to appreciate paradise when I was living in it. But mostly, I think it's just a water stain. A mark left by someone else's carelessness. Damage that can't be undone. Just like what I did to the only woman who ever loved me enough to for me. I write this as a warning to anyone reading who thinks they can have it all. Who thinks they deserve better than the person loving them unconditionally. Who thinks the grass is greener on the other side. The grass isn't greener, it's dead. And once what had to get there, there's no way back to the garden. Some mistakes echo forever, and the sound of own betrayal is the loneliest music you'll ever hear.